people's lives and impact a community. I am the Director of Workforce Training and Economic Development at Vegas PBS. Used to be with College of Southern Nevada, moved here in 2000 from Washington State and had been a Dean Director of a community college in Washington State, came here to do everything else, left in 2008 from the college, started my own business, ended up at PBS on accident and now on purpose. Because I had the opportunity of crafting what we're going to talk to you about tonight. Most of you know Vegas PBS, and our real talk tonight is about putting Nevadans back to work and building a qualified workforce. How many of you in here are business owners? You need a qualified workforce, right? Are you prepared for the future? Do you know what generations are coming and what their likes, dislikes, or whatever? And are we preparing them for your jobs? And I keep saying also that the jobs of tomorrow have not been invented yet, and it's going to be the business owners that are going to tell us what we need. And education has to be agile enough to change the way they think and deliver programs in order to meet the generations that are coming before us. I am what most people now term a technology immigrant. Everything I know about computers I had to learn on my own. I remember one of my first jobs involving a computer, I actually lied through omission to get it. The interview question was actually, do you know about computers? What the business owner was really asking is, do you know how to operate one? I didn't own one at the time, had never turned one on, and the first day on the job had to do a 20,000 piece mail merge. I had a great secretary. And she laughed, and she says, you don't know anything about computers. And I said, I don't know one. What's a mail merge? Well, we don't get away with that today. Actually, when I retired from that job, and that was in the mergers and acquisition business in Denver, Colorado, it was like retiring and getting the gold watch, which we don't get today because most people are going to go anywhere through 7 to 12 jobs before they retire, and if they retire, it's kick me out the door, right? And I hope that doesn't happen to me. But our campaign and our commitment at Vegas PBS, most of you know them as, a lot of you know PBS because of Big Bird and children's programming, right? Yeah. Some of you know the Nova, and you like Nova, Downton Abbey. Any Downton Abbey fans in here? Okay, there we go. Well, I got to tell you, back in the 1960s, and first of all, PBS got its start during Sputnik. What happened? Not enough science, technology, engineering, and math students. We weren't competitive, right? Today we still talk about science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So instead of STEM, we call it STEAM. That's the new technology around the country, so you got to know that. But we're not your father's PBS that most of us grew up with. And you know, I'm looking in the audience, so with the exception of this young lady here, who may not know what Sputnik was. Okay, good. They do still study it in school. That's a good thing. But today, PBS has actually morphed into many other things, and I will actually, I'm honored to tell you that Vegas PBS is one of the leading stations setting really new programs and new frontiers in how PBS thinks about themselves and the commitment that we make in our community. Our workforce initiative, we are the first to do a true workforce initiative like we have, that, like I'm going to tell you about. And I do have a guest here today from Virginia, who is our sister station, WHRO, who's out here and is now duplicating what we're doing here in their state. And we're delivering it from Nevada. So today, PBS, we do broadcast television and cable. That's our broadcast television. Internet and mobile streaming, interactive websites, educational multimedia, emergency communications, employment certification. We also do services for the deaf and the blind, because we had no deaf and the blind at the time when we needed it, so we stepped up to the plate. A lot of people don't know that. We're very involved in Homeland Security, and because of 9/11, Columbine, Oklahoma bombing, if you look at the new facility, which actually was our portion of the building, was paid for by a 10-year capital campaign of donors, not taxpayer dollars. And so I think that's important that people understand that portion of funding, because we're in a big, beautiful building, and at the time when we moved into the building, you know, Nevada was experienced one of the worst recession ever. And I'm losing my scarf again. This is my third speech in 2 days. You know, I just came from Oracle Road Conference. So one of the things, we are licensed to the K-12 or the Clark County School District, and we are one of 6 PBS stations in the country whose license is actually held. No one owns it. You hold it, because if you screw up and you're not, you know, you don't do the right things, the FCC takes it away. So we're licensed to the Clark County School District. Elected officials, they defer operations to the Clark County School District. So yes, I'm a Clark County School District employee. However, they don't pay my salary. My division is self-support, and so I earn my living over here, so, which I'm proud to say. Our funding nonprofit organization is the Southern Nevada Public Television Board. It started out as a Charlotte Hill, Friends of Charlotte Hill Society, and it's since morphed to the Southern Nevada Public Television. CCSD, when they started it, is because they needed educational media in the classrooms. There wasn't anything in the community. They paid for all services of PBS and staff and everything until 1996, when they said, "You're a television station. We're in the education business. You got to pay for yourself." So they do actually pay for services that we provide in the classrooms and stuff, but now the rest of the operation and the funds derived to actually operate the station are done through the services we provide the community, pledge drives, and other services that are paid for. When we moved into the building, one of the things that we did is we actually did a strategic plan and took a different paradigm shift, where it's not just broadcasting, is what are some of the things that we need to think about, and one of those was to support lifelong education in our community at all levels. And we do that by providing technology services and student support that provides basic, special, health, postgraduate, and now we've included workforce development. Again, one of the most critical needs in our community is retraining people and putting Nevadans back to work. And we felt that we needed to have programs and services to educate people and add capacity to the already taxed, and I don't mean taxed in dollars, but taxed by virtue of numbers of people in our already existing education system. I don't do what the community college does. I don't do what a university does. But I do training to put people and prepare people for the jobs at entry level and sometimes advanced. We have a lot of experience doing that. We started the virtual high school because of the budget cuts. AP classes is how it started, and then it morphed into a full degree or high school degree diploma program. I can't say degree, diploma program. So we had a lot of experience, and until 2 years ago, we actually operated and managed the virtual high school. We stole Jamie from there. Lots of experience in teacher line, and these are teachers getting advanced credit in order to get the salary increases and the master's degree. We are one of the largest producers of advanced credit for teachers in the state of Nevada. Workplace essential skills we've been doing for years, not only through the internet, but also over the air. That we actually air on, I believe, our channel 110 or 110.1, can't remember, as well as all the required viewing for CCSD. So we knew we were pretty good at workforce development, and I had been in online learning for over 24 years in the community college system, so I knew what it was like to look at non-traditional degree programs. And a lot of our students today prefer to learn online. There's a myth about online, that online is less than. And if you ask most people who have taken a robust online class, it's more than what they would get. One of the other commitments that we made at Vegas PBS was we wanted to be high-tech, high-touch. So we didn't want our students to just come in and watch a video, say we were trained, and walk out the door. All of our programs we offer it started out as Vegas Virtual, we are now GoAll, is over 3,000 online courses, everything I say from the womb to the tomb, My boss says from the cradle to the grave. So, you know, I'm not going to argue that point with him. I've been saying it for a long time. But we do everything from literacy programs for children all the way up to programs for the aging, if you're dealing with aging, and death and dying, and writing our life story, enrichment courses for any age and any demographic. And again, I told you about the unemployment, highest unemployment. We went through 20 plus years, which was what attracted me to Nevada. If you're in workforce development and economic development, I'm kind of a geek on that. I'm not a technology geek, but I really love developing a community. I came here and I thought I was a kid in a candy store. Oh my God, our businesses were hardly touched. You know, it was growth. If you could fog a mirror, you had a job. And I'm like, oh, well, how do you develop them? Because just getting a job or putting somebody in a spot to turn a widget doesn't grow your workforce. It doesn't make them competent. The recession allowed our employers, for the first time in Nevada's history, if you put this in perspective, the first time in Nevada's history, the luxury of selection. Because prior to that, again, if you could fog the mirror, you had a job in a lot of industries because we needed bodies. We were growing so fast, we couldn't fill the jobs that existed. Now, and I'm really proud to say that most of our businesses will now say high school diploma minimum for entry, because you can't get past the first online entry. Do you have a high school diploma or GED? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you can't even get past that on the online application. For businesses, I challenge them to continue saying that, because that's the only way we're going to really affect the graduation rate of our kids. If kids can't get a job without that diploma, they will stay in school. For many of our generations, and for me, it wasn't an option to ever drop out of school. I knew I was college bound because I expected to go to school. I believed I had the opportunity to go to school, and I would have done anything to go to school. Kids today, you know, they go, I can just get a job. So we need to kind of change that mindset. So again, for the first time in our history, we had the luxury of selection, and now a lot of businesses had to relook at their workforce and say, what am I going to do? Many of our large organizations laid off to the point of what I call anorexia. I'll do a lot more with a lot less, and I'll work people to death, but now all of a sudden, recession's back, business is back, it's coming back. How do I promote people? Now everybody who wasn't going to retire because I can't afford to retire is saying, I'm ready to retire. And now we haven't built a pipeline to replace them. So again, you know, those are some of the compounding issues in our community that we feel at PBS that we have an opportunity to affect. So one of the things that we said, we're going to actually open our doors to the undereducated, the displaced, at-risk, unemployed, licensed professionals, and we thought people would flock when we announced it. We're PBS, we're a television station. Nobody knew we were doing online training, and people didn't really flock at the doors. It was a hard sell. You're a television station, you have Big Bird. So how do I get you to come in through my door? So it took a lot of knocking on the doors. And one of the places that we have found is that we needed to make sure that any program that we put together involved a lot of subject matter experts. We couldn't tell the public, this is what you need. We needed to ask the question of what do you want and how do we deliver it? So just finding programs and offering them wasn't good enough. So one of the things that we did, again, I told you we launched Vegas Virtual in 2010. We then looked at the Governor's Economic Development Plan, and we aligned with Governor Sandoval's target industry, so all of our programs are actually aligned with that. We went and got the approval to be an approved provider for adult education. So that was huge for PBS. And then we wanted to make sure that we were delivering programs through all the different workforce agencies that had the funding to pay for that and give people options. What am I doing, Jamie?
I don't know. Did you hit the button?
I'm hitting the button. This is when I told you I'm not a technology geek.
You went back there.
Okay. David?
Stuff.